second in the Trans Am point standings, but they have yet to win a race. They come to the Pacific Northwest with only one thing on their minds. Newman Sharp Racing's Scott Sharp stands third in the points after his Olds Cutlass survived a war on the streets of Detroit. On his mind, closing the points gap. Oldsmobile stands 1 point ahead of Chevrolet with Ford just behind the manufacturer's points as the SCCA Trans Am Series hits the road course at Portland International Raceway. ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. It's a beautiful day in Portland, Oregon, and the Trans Am cars are prepared to do battle for 53 laps around Portland International Raceway in the Oldsmobile Trans Am Classic. Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Hammonds, and parity has come to Trans Am racing. This is the 5th race of the year. We've had 4 different pole sitters and 4 different winners. The Manufacturers Championship is heating up as well. Oldsmobile has won 3 straight races. They now have a 1-point lead over Chevrolet. And the top 9 qualifiers for today's race all broke the previous track record, which should make for a great race. Joining me on today's broadcast is 1987 Trans Am champion Scott Pruitt, now an IndyCar driver rehabilitating some injuries. Scott, this series is one that can really grab the race fan.
It certainly is. This is a perfect place for manufacturers to be involved. Even though these are full-blown race cars, they look a lot like the cars you may have in your garage at home. The spectators come out, they get a root for their own mark, their own make, and really have a good time doing it.
Now, even though these cars will be driving the same track that the Indy cars do, the style is a whole lot different.
It certainly is. What you'll see out here in these cars would be a lot like you'd see in NASCAR. There's really the room to lean on each other, to bump a little bit, to really lean fenders, trade paint a little bit. IndyCar is totally different. The cars aren't quite the same. They're open wheels, and if you touch, there's potential for a lot of danger.
All right, it's about time to go racing here at Portland. Points leader Tommy Kendall had some problems yesterday, and we talked to him about it.
In IMSA, you only get points in the first car.
We went out and we had a piece break inside the gearbox, and it could easily have broken at Detroit. So obviously we're having our share of good luck from that standpoint. But you know, I basically got 0 practice time in the first session, so we're going in the Fast 5 session with no time on the car. So I talked to Chris Neifel about what gears he's using and so forth, how the car is in all the corners. So we're just going to kind of go by Braille.
The engines are being fired along the grid. This is Max Jones getting his Mustang fired from the pole. His thoughts now lie ahead, 53 laps around this 1.922-mile road course here in Portland, Oregon. You're looking inside Jim Durhag's car as he prepares for battle. Darren Brassfield driving car number 5 today, Paul Gentilossi. Cars preparing to pull out and go racing on a beautiful afternoon. Temperatures somewhere in the 70s, very little breeze. The engine's being warmed now. It'll be an exciting afternoon. Good crowd on hand. And the pace car pulls away. The field is moving along behind it, and we're about ready to go racing here at Portland International Raceway. The Oldsmobile Trans Am Classic is brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. By Goodyear Eagle Radials, the best-selling performance radials in the world. And by Daihatsu, since 1907, the small car specialist from Japan.
It's one of the most technologically advanced, most rigorously tested fluids on Earth, relentlessly measured for maximum protection against the friction, the wear and tear, the heat and stress of today's engines. It is today's Quaker State. In Europe, in Japan, in America, Quaker State quality has passed the most demanding tests automakers can throw at it. At Quaker State, we don't just say we're tough, we're tested tough. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
Le Mans, the world's most famous 24-hour endurance race, and the scene of a major triumph for Jaguar and Goodyear. For both Goodyear and Jaguar, it was a double triumph. First second at the 24 Hours of Daytona in February. And now, first and second at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Superior performance. It's why Jaguar chooses Goodyear. And it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Daihatsu owners talk about Daihatsu from Japan.
When you can recommend a car to your best friend, you are driving the right car.
We're talking about style
and performance.
Japanese quality I can afford.
You get the same quality in Rocky, the wide-track 4x4 by Daihatsu.
That zipping four-cylinder fuel-injected engine really gets it around.
And Rocky has the widest wheel track in its class. Today, there's a Daihatsu that's just right for you. Daihatsu, one of the most respected names in Japan for over 80 years.
Just moments away from going green here in Portland. Here's how they will start the Oldsmobile Trans Am Classic. Row 1 on the pole, Max Jones in a Mustang, and Darren Brasfield on the outside of row 1. Row 2, Tommy Kendall on the inside, Jack Baldwin on the outside. Row 3, Paul Gentilozzi on the inside, Bob Sobey alongside. Row 4, Irv Hare and Dick Danielson. The fifth row, Scott Sharp and Chris Neifel. Row 6, Les Lindley, Robert Lapalainen. The seventh row, Wayne Akers and Lynn St. James. The eighth row, Jim Durhag and John Brumder. The ninth row, John Brumder and Glenn Fox. The 10th row, Keith Delaney and Bill Lester. Row 11, Mark Peelsticker and Jerry Clinton. And the 12th row, Steve Barber, Brian Wold. Row 13, Rich Sloma and Buzz Dyer. Here's a look at the 14th row, John Anderson and Jerry Brasfield, the father of Darren Brasfield. Well, Scott Pruitt, the first 9 cars broke the previous track record in qualifying. That should be a great race.
It's shaping up to be a real good race. We see a lot of competition against the manufacturers, Chevrolet, Ford, Oldsmobile. The battle really heating up. Oldsmobile leading the championship only by a slim margin over Ford.
What kind of track is this? Is this a fun track for the drivers to have?
This is a pretty exciting track. So a lot of room to pass. What we're going to see on the start here is a wide track really funneling down into a chicane area. So it's good add for a lot of action.
The green flag falls. We are racing here at Portland, and they're battling 3 abreast going into the chicane. And there's a spin and a big incident. Several cars involved.
I don't know if that's Kendall or if that's Chris Neifel. It's tough to see from here, but it's definitely Jack Baldwin. And the Camaro sitting there against the pylons or the retaining wall.
One of the Olivetti cars was definitely involved. Several cars went straight through the chicane. The yellow flag is flying, and Jack Baldwin is dead in the water. Trying to get it started again and get around the tire barriers. Jack Baldwin is started and will remain in the race, but not a real good start to this race.
That was a terrible start. I'm not sure what happened, but it looked a lot like one of the Olivetti cars got hit real hard from behind, got him sideways, and that just started all the chaos.
Jack Baldwin, you saw him drive away. And the rest of the field, meanwhile, continues around this track. Here's again is the start of the race. And watch one of the Olivetti cars. He got hit from behind by Scott Sharp, it looked like.
Real hard by Scott Sharp. Got him sideways. In fact, it was an incident a lot like a couple weeks ago at Detroit. Really got hit hard from behind, put him sideways, and Jack Baldwin was just an innocent bystander.
Many of the cars went straight through the chicane, waiting for things to clear up, and Jack Baldwin, meanwhile, will join this field at the rear. We're racing at Portland, but it was a wild start. Let's take a look at it again from the bumper cam of Paul Gentilozzi. There's the hood of Scott Sharp go flying. Gentilozzi goes straight through the chicane instead of going around it. Jack Baldwin into the pits for some repairs, Scott.
Well, that was just a tough break for Jack. Here he was minding his own business and unfortunately got taken out of the race. Looks like he's getting a new rear tire there and should rejoin the field here momentarily.
Well, Jack Baldwin will join the field at the rear. Meanwhile, at the front, this is your leader, Darren Brasfield. The Neolife Olds Cutlass Supreme has won 5 races in his career, including one this year at Sears Point. And right now, he's out in front here at Portland.
So he's got a commanding lead here over second place, really running strong, and he really showed the way for him at Sears Point earlier this year, and it looks like he may do the same today.
The start of the race might have been a benefit to Darren Brasfield because everybody behind him got held up in the melee. Max Jones is in second place. Chris Neifel in third. Jones in the 2 car, Neifel in 3, running second and third. That's the battle you're seeing right now.
Jack Baldwin has entered the field just from his pit stop. He's not racing for the lead here. He's a couple laps down and really should be getting out of some of these guys' way.
Neifel trying to find a way around Max Jones to take over second place. Right on his bumper. Chris Neifel in the 3 car, the Olivetti Beretta. Max Jones in the number 2 car, the blue Ford Mustang as they go down the backstretch.
You have to remember here that there's a lot of difference. Here we are with Darren Brasfield. He's running a V6. Max Jones with a V8, and then back with a V6 in Chris Neifel's car. A little bit different weights. The SEC has tried to pair them up as close as they can, keep the competition close, and I think they've done a great job.
This should be a V8 racetrack, shouldn't it, Scott?
You'd think so with the long straightaway, but it looks today like the V6s are showing the way.
Right now it's Brasfield in front, and there's the damage on Tommy Kendall's car, who was involved in the start of the melee at the start, and there's smoke coming from Scott Sharp's car. His car is smoking heavily, and he's the one that precipitated it all on lap number 1.
He may have had a little damage to the front radiator area, or maybe that's just a tire rub. It's really tough to say. It looks like he's got a lot of tore up bodywork all over the front.
Scott Sharp, who won his first Trans Am race of his career last week at Detroit, may be seeing this one come to an end early. The 33 car, the Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme, smoking heavily in the front end, 22 years old. Just graduated from Babson College in Massachusetts with a degree in finance. Going to do him a whole lot of good here today.
That car is really tore up in the front, and it looks like there's a lot of oil coming up on the windshield, so I'm guessing it's more of an engine problem than just a body problem.
Well, Scott Sharp hopefully not laying down oil on the racetrack for the rest of the field. Here's a battle further back in the field. Herb Hare trying to work his way up. The battle for 4th position.
This track really lends itself nicely for a lot of room for passing. The straightaway is very long. There's an opportunity to actually draft up on the guy and out deep him in the chicane area. We're going to see a lot of that action today.
Les Lindsley and Robert Lapalainen going at it here. A lot of racing throughout the field on the racetrack.
Les Lindley, an old competitor from Trans Am, running very strong today.
The Trans Am cars are racing in the Pacific Northwest, and we'll be back to Portland International Raceway.
Here's a friendly proposition from cable TV. When you introduce a friend to cable, they'll get free installation, and you'll get a month of cable free. More friends, more free cable. Sorry. Some restrictions may apply.
So I checked out electronics, and what I found out is that it's not just for men. It's a great opportunity for a lot of women. I got my associate degree from Heald Institute of Technology, and it really paid off for me.
Summer classes are forming now. Call the Heald Institute of Technology campus nearest you.
And Jaguars make up an international field battling in a race of endurance. See the Camel Continental 7 from historic Watkins Glen. Sunday, live on ESPN.
Back at Portland. Here's the battle for 2nd and 3rd place. Max Jones in the 2 car. Chris Neifel in the 3 car. Chris has been trying to get around Jones for a couple of laps now, and so far Max has been able to hold him off.
Max, I think, has just a little bit longer legs in his car on the straightaway. You can You see Chris catch up to him in the corners, and one thing we have to remember is the heavier cars are definitely tougher on the tires. And here he goes up the inside. We're talking about the little bit lighter weight with the V6s, and this is under a perfect opportunity to pass, a little bit better under the braking area.
Kneifel takes over second place. Jack Baldwin is the third car in the sequence there, but he has a couple of laps down because of the first lap incident. 1 lap down, that is. It's Kneifel, Jones, and then Baldwin 1 lap down. You can see on the front straight, the V8 is closing in again.
Yeah, you see, like you said earlier, the V8 seems to have a little bit more straightaway speed, and that's what SCCA knows. The V6 is definitely better under braking and under acceleration. That's strictly because of weight.
You are looking through Paul Gentilosi's helmet camera. Let's sit back and watch and listen as he laps Portland International Raceway. Smoking on the racetrack, John Brumder from Boulder, Colorado. And the Olds Cutlass showing some smoke along the backstretch.
Looks like a lot of smoke here out of looks like the exhaust area. Maybe another engine problem like Scott Sharp definitely coming into the pits here and should get that checked out.
John Brumder's day could be coming to an end. So attrition showing its head early. Scott Sharp is out of the race. John Brumder looks like he could be through for the afternoon. Meanwhile, back at the front of the field, this is Darren Blessfield, your leader in the Oldsmobile Cutlass.
I had a chance to spend a little time with Paul over the last few days, and he's the owner of the car that Darren's driving, and great guy. He's really determined to take those Oldsmobiles. He's picked up a little from last year and definitely showing the way here this race.
Darren Blessfield is your leader. There's a spin on the racetrack. Jerry Clinton spins. Nobody collects him. Now he tries to get back on the course, keeps the engine running, finds a spot, and rejoins the race, but falls back several positions.
Jerry's been kind of having a tough last few days. He's had the car quite all over the course and had a few spins, I know, this morning in the warm-up session. So maybe just chassis problems that can't quite get worked out.
Jerry Clinton, this is his 46th Trans Am race. We'd like to forget that little incident.
I certainly would.
There you see the racing through the corner. On the infield section of the track, this is a second-place battle right here. This is your third-place car right here. And there's a battle for third as Irv Hare has closed in on Max Jones. So Irv Hare trying to move up.
You have to remember this morning was quite cool temperatures, and a lot of the guys may have set up their car for the cooler temperatures. Now it's very hot out, and it looks like the V8 cars may be using tires up a little quicker than the V6s. We see Max here in a V8, Irv in a V6. We saw Chris get around him, and it looks like Irv's giving one heck of a run.
Irv Hare started the day in 7th spot and is now battling for third. Max Jones in the 2 car, Hare in the 15 car. They're battling for third place. Down the long straightaway. Looks like the Mustang starts to pull away a little bit. Chris Kneifel gets around some slower traffic. Here's the battle for third. Irv Hare in the 15 car. 5 career wins. He has one this year at Dallas. 55 points. Ties him for 8th place. This is the Trans Am race in Portland, Oregon. And we'll be back after this.
Daihatsu owners talk about Daihatsu from Japan.
When you can recommend a car to your best friend, you are driving the right car.
We're talking about style
and performance.
Japanese quality I can afford.
You get the same quality in Rocky, the wide-track 4x4 by Daihatsu.
That zipping four-cylinder fuel-injected engine really gets it around.
And Rocky has the widest wheel track in its class. Today, there's a Daihatsu that's just right for you. Daihatsu, one of the most respected names in Japan for over 80 years.
Winning. It can all come down to one spark plug, Champion. No other plug in the world has fired more drivers to victory than Champion spark plugs. Imagine what they can do for you. Champion. We race. You win. Win a trip for two to the Australian Grand Prix in the Champion We Race You Win giveaway. Enter now at your participating auto parts store or auto service dealer.
Now you can blaze away in the most memorable dogfights of the century in an explosive new video series, Air Combat. Call this toll-free number now and dive into action as Air Combat pushes all the right buttons with dramatic footage that never misses the target. You'll have Messerschmitts under the gun in the Battle of Britain and face a swarm of Zeros over Midway. From enemy jungles to desert valleys, you'll be in command of the finest fighting machines ever built. Call now and get your first cassette, The War Aces, for the low introductory price of only $9.95. Keep the thrilling story of the all-time Top Guns, and another video will follow. You'll also receive free The Fighting Flying Tigers, an uncensored stereo adventure fought in the stormy Burma skies. Call now and take off in the high-flying Air Combat Video Collection. Don't miss it.
Call 1-800-234-9040 and get your first tape by charging it, or send $12.45 to Air Combat at this address.
We're back in Portland, and Tommy Kendall's day, the points leader, has not been good. He was involved in the first lap crash, and his car is heavily banged up now. It looks like he was involved in another altercation.
It certainly does. A lot of damage on the rear of the car from the first lap, and I'm not sure what happened, but there's a lot of damage on the front of that car.
Let's take a look at what happened. Tommy Kendall involved in his second wreck of the day. Gentilossi gets sideways, spins in the corner. And here comes Tommy Kendall with a banged-up race car. It's already banged up when he gets by Gentilossi, so something happened elsewhere on the racetrack. Two separate incidents on the racetrack, and let's go down to the pits now. Michael Brockman.
Yes, I'm in Tommy Kendall's pit. They're trying to pull the front end off this car, just take it off so he can get back in the fray, so to speak. But I see a serious water leak coming out. They obviously broke the radiator when he hit, so I got a feeling he's going to be here a while. Back to you, Brian.
It has not been a good day for the points leader in Trans Am, Tommy Kendall. Meanwhile, back at the front, this is Darren Brassfield opening up what seems to be a nice lead now over Chris Neifel. Neifel being held up a little bit in slower traffic. There's the battle for third place. Max Jones and Irv Hare, as they're being held up by some slower traffic.
Traffic becomes a major problem here. It can work for you or it can work against you. Darren looks like he's making his way through it real well. Chris does. Now this could be an opportunity for Irv actually to put a move on Max. Max may be dicing around in traffic a little bit. He may slip up the inside.
Max Jones now trying to get by Jerry Clinton, who we saw spin just a few minutes ago. Now they break out wide along the backstretch. Max Jones getting by some slower traffic. That bottles in. Irv Hare ducks in behind Clinton. And as they go into turn number 7, look at that driving. Max Jones holds off Irv Hare for third place.
That was some pretty dicey driving there. Just enough room for Max to slip on by those two collapsed cars, but I don't know, it's pretty close for me.
Now down the front straightaway. We'll see if Irv Hare can take Max Jones for third. Nice battle going on.
Have to remember the V6 a little bit better under braking, the V8 a little bit better down the straight.
Through the chicane. They set themselves up for turn number 1. Irv Hare currently in fourth, tries to duck to the inside. Can't do it. Max Jones shuts the door. Coming up on a slower car. Who will that benefit? To the inside goes Jones. Irv Hare tries to follow him around and does so. Very close action here in Portland. Now Hare tries to get by in the corner and does. Irv Hare takes over third place.
Nice move. Nice clean move right up the inside of Max. And that's that's really almost a textbook sort of a pass. Real clean.
See if he can pull away now along the backstretch. One of the fastest parts of this race course. Max Jones tucks right behind her here. How much do you use the curbs here, Scott?
Well, in a Trans Am car, you can get away with driving over the curbs quite a bit, and actually it helps in some parts of the track to make the car work a little better. I know that's maybe hard to believe, but certainly true.
This is the battle for third place, currently held by Irv Hare. That man, Max Jones, just got past trying to get it back. Through the chicane. Looks like it throws the car around.
It gets around a little bit. You can see that these cars are pretty forgiving. They can go out over the curbs without getting the cars too much disturbed, pick up tires, where if you're an Indy car, that really disturbs the car. You need to stay off those curbs.
Working lap number 12 here in Portland, Darren Brassfield is the leader. We'll be back with more right after this.
There's no dashboard light to warn you. No dipstick to check. Yet when warned, they could cause your car to lose control and braking. Don't find out your shocks and struts are worn by accident. Get your shocks and struts inspected at your Monroe retailer soon. Monroe, your safety could depend on it.
Could your car use some improvements? Like a Z-Bart sunroof, Z-Bart fabric protection, window tinting, Z-Bart paint protection, no waxing ever, auto alarms. Z-Bart has dozens of improvements. Z-Bart improves trucks and vans, too, with running boards, bed liners, van racks, and more.
And I thought all Z-Bart did was rust protection.
Z-Bart, we're the car improvement specialist.
Now get $100 off the total protection package at Z-Bart.
Coming up this month on America's Horse, we'll take you to St. Paul, Minnesota for an international reining competition at the Nations Cup, and also visit with country music superstar Michael Martin Murphey. Join us for America's Horse.
We're back at the Oldsmobile Trans Am Classic in Portland, Oregon, and Tommy Kendall really has banged up his car. 2 separate incidents on the racetrack. Let's take a look at what happened from the in-car. You're riding with Paul Gentilossi. Paul loses control and spins into the infield. You can hear him kill the engine, refire, and Gentilossi has since been black flagged for a stop-and-go penalty. So the second spin of the day for Paul Gentilossi. There's your leader, Darren Brassfield, who is beginning to open up a very nice lead here on the 1.92-mile, 9-turn road course in Portland, Oregon. Driving a very smooth race, and nobody's in front of him.
Darren's been running a real good, strong race here so far, really keeping it off the curbs. He has that situation where he can get out there and really take it easy. Take it easy on the tires. Take it easy on the brakes. Be careful with the situation. He really doesn't have any contenders. You can see Chris in his mirrors. He has no reason to push hard right now.
The 3 car, Chris Neifel, is your second place car. Max Jones right now running in 4th place. The 2 car, the Mustang. Max Jones has a 3rd place as his best finish this year at Phoenix. He's 4th at Dallas. Has 54 points, good enough for 9th place after 4 races of the Trans Am Series. One of the favorites to do very well in the championship race this year.
Definitely. Max Jones is a hard charger, definitely in the points race. And that's another thing we forgot to mention about Tommy Kendall. They're in there, even though they can't win this race, they want to get back there and get those championship points.
Dick Danielson in the 9 car. The 55 car is Bob Sobey. Racing back in the field. This is for 6th place. The battle for 6th place. Danielson and Sobey. Danielson in the Olds Cutlass. Sobey in the Camaro. And manufacturers' points. Very big thing in Trans Am racing.
Very big. All the major manufacturers you see involved here. Ford, Chevrolet, and now Oldsmobile, a new contender. They've been racing for a few years, but really have shown the way this year.
Oldsmobile has won 3 3 straight races, and for the first time ever, they've done that with 3 different teams. So, as we said at the top of the show, parity has really come to Trans Am racing.
It's good to see this kind of racing. It was kind of dominated by Ford for a while. They ran very, very strong. Then by Lincoln Mercury, and now we're seeing kind of a switch back and forth. Oldsmobile, we haven't seen much of them. Now really charging hard and showing the way for a lot of people, and Ford knocking at their doors. So it's been some great racing so far this year.
Dick Danielson running in the 5th spot. Sobey in 6th place. You're riding now with car number 40, Jim Durhag, as you get his vantage point around this racetrack.
You can watch. It's a good shot from inside the car as he goes up through the back, moving his hands around, really showing the way around the track. Nice and smooth moves. That's one thing that's pretty exciting about driving the Trans Am cars. They're nice and smooth, and you can really have a chance to work with them.
This man has been around for a while. This is his 99th race. That puts him first on the all-time list as far as starting races. He has 11 top 5 finishes, 61 top 10. He really knows what he's doing. We have another incident on the race course. That's car number 0. The 0 car, John Anderson, is backwards somewhere on the track trying to get back on.
He's been having a tough weekend, too. Been off the track a few times this morning, and looks like it got away from him again here.
The Camaro, the Cerrone Foods Camaro, is off the course and is now back on the racetrack. Let's take a look again at what happened to John Anderson. See him there, get completely sideways, locks up the brakes, and close call as cars miss him to the inside. So John Anderson keeps it running and is back out on the racetrack, and just like road racing, it's only yellow in that area. So once you get by the trouble, you're still racing. John Anderson doesn't look like there's any damage to the car. Tommy Kendall, believe it or not, is trying to go back out in this race, and he is leading the points, so every point he could possibly pick up is big, and they've almost rebuilt that entire car.
They certainly have. They'll definitely go out without the nose on, which will cause a lot of problems as far as aerodynamics is concerned. Even though these don't look like they have wings, all the aerodynamics are built right into the car, right into the body itself.
So after 2 crashes, Tommy Kendall is back out. This is a battle for 8th spot with the 4 car, Robert Lapalainen. And the 21 car is Wayne Akers battling for 8th spot. Lapalainen, the beautifully painted Ford Mustang, running in 8th place.
JPS Special, saw a lot of that racing over in Europe in Formula 1. It's nice to see it back over here.
Wayne Akers trying to reel him in. Lapalainen has a win this year. He won at Phoenix, 64 points. It gets him into a tie for 5th place. He has 15 top 10 finishes in his 23 races. So this man has consistently run up front since he began Trans Am racing.
From Finland originally. In fact, I still think he travels over the ocean to get here, and a tough competitor. Learned a lot last year, and very strong this year. Looking real good at Phoenix where he won there, and definitely coming on here today.
Wayne Akers looks like he could be closing a little. Looking to take over 8th place. Robert Lapalainen.
We have to remember these guys. They want to push as hard as they can, but they have to remember they have to conserve. They have to take care of the brakes. Even more importantly on this track, they have to take care of the tires. Portland being a fairly unique track where most of the turns are right-hand. There's only 2 left-hand turns, 3 left-hand turns. So they really set up the car to go one direction. They kind of give away those other 2 turns and make up a lot of the speed in the right-handers. And because of that, they can really heat up the outside tires if they aren't careful.
Dick Danielson moving in on Jack Baldwin now, who is a lap down. Danielson trying to get by him. Of course, Baldwin was involved in that first lap crash at the start of the race. This is a 53-lap race, just a little over 101 miles, so there are no pit stops, so that really brings out your point about conserving. Let's go down to the pits, Michael Brockman.
Yeah, I'm with Dan Binks, crew chief on Tommy Kendall's car. Dan, you're 8 laps down, but you guys really did a marvelous job putting the front end on that car and getting it back out.
Yeah, we're trying just to get points now. I mean, we got taken out there on the first lap.
Just getting a message here from Kendall right now. We'll be right back with you. Back to you for a second, Dan.
All right, at the front of the field, this is Darren Brassfield, who really has it pretty easy right now, Scott.
Darren just out there cruising right now. He's in his situation. He's conserving his car. He's conserving the tires. Really playing it safe for right now.
18 laps are down in the Oldsmobile Trans Am Classic. We'll be back after this.
Daihatsu owners talk about Daihatsu from Japan.
When you can recommend a car to your best friend, you are driving the right car.
We're talking about style
and performance.
Japanese quality I can afford.
You get the same quality in Rocky, the wide track 4x4 by Daihatsu.
That zippy four-cylinder fuel-injected engine really gets it around.
And Rocky has the widest wheel track in its class. Today, there's a Daihatsu that's just right for you. Daihatsu, one of the most respected names in Japan for over 80 years.
Fastest and most exotic Mercedes-Benz comes on Goodyear Eagle radials, and only on Goodyear Eagle radials. Why? Because the engineers at Mercedes-Benz want it that way. And they're another reason why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
SCCA Pro Racing, taking you on the ultimate road trip.
We asked some of the top drivers in the Trans Am Series about their goals for this season.
Well, I think, obviously, like I said, winning the Trans Am Championship is what it's all about. Both the Manufacturers Championship for Chevrolet and the Drivers Championship for myself. But if you get too obsessed with that picture, you change the way you approach each race. And it's way too early in the season to start worrying about padding the points lead or anything like that. So we're going out to win every race.
Well, team-wise, you have to take that first, and that's to win a Manufacturers Championship for Chevrolet. No question about it. That's what we're here to do. Along with that, if we can do that, chances are Tommy or myself will be a driver's champion as well. And, in the back of your mind, you'd love to be driver's champ. But the reason I'm here is to win a Manufacturers Championship for Chevy.
I think it's extremely important for every team to consider the Manufacturers Championship because it's what's important to them, and they offer a lot of support in needed areas. So when we race a Chevrolet, and certainly we would like Chevrolet to do well and win their championship along with hopefully our championship, and it's good for everybody when that happens.
The goal of our team, I think, is both to win the Drivers' Championship and the Manufacturers' Championship. The Manufacturers' Championship, of course, involves the other Oldsmobile teams and their performance. So while we're trying to win Oldsmobile the Manufacturers' Championship, we're also trying to win the championship for our team.
We're back in Portland. Here's the battle for fourth place. Les Lindley getting by Max Jones, or does he? Door handle to door handle, swaps a little paint in. Les Lindley gets by for fourth place.
I'm guessing that Max may be having some braking problems. Got past under braking before, got past in that other area. I'm just curious, maybe he has some sort of problem going on.
Max Jones started this race from the pole and is now sliding backwards. He's now in fifth place as Lindley gets by. Les Lindley, a veteran, his 96th race here today. 21 top 5 finishes, 46 top 10. He has 36 points accumulated so far this year for 12th place. Les Lindley could accumulate a few more if he can keep moving through this field. Sliding through the corners, that wears on the tires.
It certainly does. That's one thing we talked about earlier. They have to be careful with the tires. They want to be in a situation where they have a good car in the race in case they have to get down and charge hard at there at the end. I'm guessing just from seeing other SCCA races, there's a good chance that caution's going to come out and punch back up the field. But if that situation happens, they have to have a good car underneath them to really charge for that win.
21 laps are down. This is a 53-lap race. Long way to go here in Portland. Chris Neifel running in second place, 6 feet 6 inches tall, a huge basketball fan. Chris talked about how tall he really is and how his height affects his racing career.
Well, in racing, generally, being tall is a huge disadvantage. It limits what you're able to do in terms of the cars that you can get into. Some of the different series, it limits who you can co-drive with. In our case here with the ICI Berettas, it's perfect. The cars were built around Tommy and myself, and it's a match made in heaven.
Well, it's nice when you can put the seat all the way back. Cruise right on down the backstretch like Chris Neifel is right now.
Looks like he's getting a real charge from Irv Hare there. I remember we were talking to Chris a little bit, and the fact that when he was running GTP, they actually built a bubble on top of the 962 so he could get in the car and fit without bumping his head.
When he ran IndyCar, the one year he ran in Indianapolis, it was really tough because he was taller than the roll bar. Right now, he's got his hands full and his mirrors are full with Irv Hare. This is battle for second place. Chris Neifel in the 3 car, Hare in the 15 car. After 20 laps, here's how they stand. Max Jones, after 20 laps, he now stands in 5th place. And Neifel has his hands full trying to hang on to second. They're approaching some slower traffic.
Interesting thing is you have to remember Chris is out there on Goodyears. Irv Hare is on Firestones. There hasn't been very many races where they raced head-to-head towards the end of the race. Irv's had some problems, this, that, and the other. So it should be interesting. Portland being a pretty tough track on tires, it should be interesting to see what tire holds up better.
It's a flat tire for Buzz Dyer. The Olds Toronado, you can see the left rear tire has gone flat. He will try to limp back to the pits and get that changed. So Buzz Dyer has a problem. We'll come back with more from Portland. The Oldsmobile Trans Am Classic. Darren Brasfield is leading.
The Thunder rolls this summer. So don't miss Paramount's new movie, Days of Thunder. And stop at Exxon for your Days of Thunder family fun book. An inside look at the filming of Days of Thunder and news on NASCAR racing, games, driving tips, and all sorts of puzzles. They're free at participating Exxon stations. But they're going fast.
The hottest new way to see the hottest hit movies and special events. Pay-per-view.
For 31 years, it's been just the fabulous Baker Boys. But times change.
The world is good, little brother. Don't let anybody tell you any different.
Ned Baker.
Order directly from home and pay only for what you order. Pay-per-view, only from United Cable. Call today.
We're back in the 2nd and 3rd place cars have tangled. Chris Neifel and Irv Hare are both off the course after a collision. You can see the damage. Chris Neifel pulling part of his race car behind him. Now they're back and racing and bumping again. Neifel trying to get by Hare. Hare holds him off. What a race.
I'd say that there was a little more to that than what we saw. Chris Neifel leaning on Irv Hare there a little bit, and definitely going to have to make a pit stop. Maybe looks like he has a flat there.
Well, they came out the way they went in. Chris Neifel ahead of Irv Hare. Let's take a look and see if we can find out what happened. Neifel already sideways. Hare collects him right there at the back of the car. Both drivers keep the car running. Neifel is the first to get back on track. Then watch the race. They really had a great race once they got back on the track together. But nevertheless, Neifel is still ahead of Irv Hare, and Hare has a flat tire.
Both those guys be making pit stops to get those cars checked out. I'm guessing that Irv probably leaned on him a little bit, going in there, got him a little sideways, and ended up hitting him and taking him out. Well, I shouldn't say taking him out of the race, but taking him out of position.
So Irv Hare and Chris Neifel are both in the pits for repairs. That will drop both of those drivers well back, clearing the grass away from the radiator of Chris Neifel to prevent any overheating problems. They jack the car up. They'll put new tires on Chris Neifel's Olivetti Beretta. Let's go down to the pits. Michael Brockman.
Yeah, I tell you, the Olivetti cars are having a hard time out here. They've been hit front, rear, everywhere else. They've replaced the right rear tire that had gone flat on Chris's car, and he is away. Now, at the other end of the pits, we've got Irv Hare, and I can't really tell from this vantage point what exactly is going on. They got right side up. Look like they're putting on two right side tires. They're throwing him down, and he's away. So back to you, Brian.
Irv Hare, we saw, had at least one flat tire on the right side. Meanwhile, Darren Brasfield doesn't mind that happening behind him because he's just pulling farther and farther away in the lead. Here's another angle. Hare to the inside. He does spin Neifel, and then he collects him again right there. So you called it exactly right, Scott.
Looks like he got up on the inside of him, just was able to clip the rear of him. It's hard to really point a finger, and sometimes they say that's racing.
Dick Danielson does a little agriculture racing as well, getting off the track and through the grass, but is now back on the track. It's been interesting in that part of the racetrack.
It certainly has. And Les Lindley is inherited second.
So by virtue of the coming together of Chris Neifel and Irv Hare, Les Lindley is now in second place, and Darren Brasfield is, you can really consider his car because he's rolling right along.
He's oblivious to this whole situation. He doesn't really care what's going on back there. It's nice and clean.
Here's a battle for third place. Lapalainen looking at Dick Danielson, but Danielson slams the door. Lapalainen might try again in this corner. They're leading toward the backstretch. Danielson in the 9 car, Lapalainen in the black and gold 4 car. And Danielson now trying to hang on to third place. Lapalainen right on him.
Oldsmobile Ford battle again, V6 and V8. It should be interesting to see how Lapalainen gets down the straight, if he has enough legs to get by him.
We saw Dick Danielson get off course that allowed Lapalainen to close up, and here he does again, going into turn number 7 to the inside. Robert Lapalainen, and he takes over third place.
A little bit more straightaway speed there. He manages this kind of slip up inside Danielson there and make his way by.
Through turn 9, number 9 now, and heading his way down the front stretch and pulling away a little bit from Dick Danielson. So Lapalainen trying to move through this field and get up toward Darren Brasfield. Lapalainen now in third place. Lapalainen started in 12th and is now up to third. Let's go down to Michael Brockman.
Yeah, Neifel's obviously having a problem down here, Brian. They changed the right rear tire. That didn't seem to be enough. They had to take it back off again, check something on the lower A-arm, I suppose, and they're going to send him back out again. These guys are having their problems. Back to you, Brian.
There's definitely a traffic jam in the Olivetti pits. Both Tommy Kendall and Chris Neifel both in at the same time. Dick Danielson now being reeled in by Wayne Akers in the 21 car. So Danielson now trying to hold on to fourth place. Down the backstretch they go. It's again an Oldsmobile and Ford battle. Going into turn number 7, Danielson pulls Akers off, but Akers is right on his bumper.
He's leaning up. Danielson pits. He's coming into the pits.
Danielson comes into the pits. Wayne Akers inherits fourth place. So Danielson might have a problem. So attrition is leading to position changes at the front of the field. Crashes, but now problems by Dick Danielson. And a lot of guys are inheriting good spots at the front of the field. Let's take a look at Dick Danielson's pit time. Looking at the rear of the car, might be a problem with the left rear wheel.
Two guys going to work there trying to see what that situation is.
Could be a possible brake fire, we understand. A long pit stop, and Dick Danielson lost 25 seconds in the pits after running in fourth place.
I'm surprised to see this much attrition here at Portland. Generally, it's an uneventful race, but I'll tell you what, today there's been a lot of events.
And this man is comfortably out in front. Darren Brasfield is leading the Oldsmobile Trans Am Classic at the Portland International Raceway. We'll be back after this.
When was the last time you had of athlete's foot. Desenex stops the itch and burn of athlete's foot fast, and your satisfaction is guaranteed or your money back. So the next time your athlete's foot begins to stop it fast with Desenex.
Sunday night, Baltimore's Iron Horse, Cal Ripken Jr. leads the Orioles against AL batting champion Kirby Puckett and the Twins. It's Sunday Night Baseball, live at 8 Eastern on ESPN.
We're back in Portland, and the leader, Darren Brasfield, is in the pits. Definitely an unscheduled stop.
Jacking up the car, maybe a tire problem. Looks like he's going to the rear there. Tough break for Darren, been running strong all day long.
Let's go down to the pits, Michael Brockman.
Yeah, there's some problem with Brasfield. They jacked the car up, and they sent it back out, and as far as I can tell, they didn't change the tire. They just jacked up the right side and sent it back out. I don't know what the problem is, but I'll give you an answer in a minute.
He had a 34-second lead going into that pit stop, and he got back out with still a 14-second lead on Les Lindley. So whatever the problem was, he felt the lead was big enough to go into the pit and get it changed.
Interesting to see what happened or why he made that pit stop. Everything looked like it was going along real smooth, and it didn't look like they changed anything on the car.
Let's take a look at the race summary. After 26 laps, your leader, Darren Brasfield, he has led from start to finish. No cautions as far as full course variety is concerned. 9 cars still on the lead lap, and your average speed better than 96 miles per hour. But Darren Brasfield's lead has gone from 34 seconds plus to about 14 seconds. So he now has his hands full once again. These are the cars out of the race after 26 laps. Scott Sharp and Tommy Kendall out early. John Brumder, Bill Lester. Let's go back down to the pits. Michael Brockman.
Yeah, Brian, I just spoke with Charlie Selleck, and he said that Darren came in, thought he had a tire going down. They checked it. There's not a problem with the tire, so Charlie sort of thinks it's a rear end. Send him back out there, going to let him get a few more laps and see what the problem, if it materializes or gets any worse. Back to you, Brian.
Darren Brasfield is still in the lead, but is not real happy with the race car.
Doesn't sound like he is at all, but he's in a situation now where he has a nice, comfortable lead. Just go out and try and bring the car home. There may be some sort of problem going on with the car, but nobody's challenging him at this point in time.
32 laps are down. 21 laps remain in this race. Still a long way to go here at Portland. The car is sideways. It looked like one of the Olivetti cars. It is. It's Chris Neifel. Again, an Olivetti Beretta involved in an incident. The second one Neifel has been involved with today. Pulls back out on the racetrack ahead of Jack Baldwin.
Olivetti cars have been having a tough day today. They've been in the middle of all the melee.
Chris Neifel, another off-course excursion. Meanwhile, Darren Brasfield, your leader, all alone in the backstretch. And remember, though, he is not happy with the car. He thought the tire was going down. It could be a problem with the rear end. And Les Lindley, that's your second-place car, is starting to close down. Les Lindley starting to close in on the leader, Darren Brasfield.
To see if Les is actually catching Darren or not. He lost a little time making the pit stop. Should be interesting to see if he's holding his own or not.
Les started the day in the 11th place, and now you see the difference between first and second. Lindley now going in to the chicane. The difference is 7.5 seconds between the leader, Darren Brasfield, in second place. The yellow car right there of Les Lindley.
Lindley in a situation where he hasn't really been challenging anybody, but due to some of the problems, has just inherited second place.
Here's Irv Hare still on the race course with big damage. Of course, he was involved in the incident with Chris Neifel a little bit earlier, but pieces of that car flying all over the place.
Definitely a situation to stay out there and get those points, get those drivers' points, get the manufacturer's points, and hopefully finish that race.
You can see smoke coming out of the left side of the car. Looked like the tire might be rubbing. Irv Hare was running up front. Now is in 14th place. He's spending time in the pits after the altercation with Neifel. So Irv Hare out there running for points. You can see the piece piece of sheet metal rubbing up against that tire, causing the smoke.
A lot of damage, and potentially could be an overheating problem with it if he's not careful.
There's your second place car. Looking now at Jack Baldwin and Chris Neifel, who has been all over this racetrack. Neifel trying to get around Baldwin, going into the chicane, can't do it. Baldwin holds him off. Robert Lapalainen is the third place car, the black car number 4. Trying to get around both Neifel and Baldwin and try to work his way up into the battle for second place with Les Lindley.
Then we see Wayne Akers get up there and start challenging Robert Lapalainen yet. There's a couple Fords they'll be challenging hard. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out.
That's the battle for third place. Wayne Akers, the 21 car, in fourth. Lapalainen, the black car, in third place.
Mike Brockman reports on how drivers like Akers can afford to go racing.
Standing under the canopy here with a tractor trailer and 2 race cars. They look very much like any other car you'll see competing on the SCCA Pro Circuit this year. But it's 2 independents, Wayne Akers and Glenn Fox, who pool their resources to try to save money in a very expensive game, and that's motor racing. Now, these 2 fellows have bought their cars from Jack Roush Racing. Roush helps them with technical information and data. Without that kind of help, they certainly would not have done as well as they've done this year. As you know, the tracks are located all over the country, and one of the biggest expenses is just getting the cars from point A to point B. Now, this tractor trailer holds 2 cars, and so they got together, put their cars in here, and this is a way they save a little bit of money. Most of the professional teams spend as much as $1 million every year to run their cars, and these independents have to do it on about 25% of that, or $250,000. So sharing expenses is a good way for these guys to compete until they find that all-elusive sponsor.
Scott, how it's like to be driving this car, just trying to keep it together for the rest of the race.
Believe me, I've been in those situations where you just want to hobble that thing home. Whatever you have to do to win those championship points, and that could be the difference between winning and getting second or third.
Right now, Irv Herring getting in the way of Lynn St. James, trying to get around him. He holds her off.
There's Durhog. He's definitely wanting to get up and challenge with Lynn a little bit.
Jim Durhog and Lynn St. James battling back in the field. Lynn St. James is 1 lap down. Again, Irv Herring is battling for third place. Had an incident with Chris Neifel and is now hanging on to 14th, trying to pick up points. Darren Brasfield is still leading the Oldsmobile Trans Am Classic at Portland, and we'll be back after this.
We're here at an athletic shoe store to see people's reactions to this sneaker phone from Sports Illustrated. Now, the only thing is, we're not going to show it to them. We're going to let them discover it for themselves. Come on.
The sneaker's ringing. It's a phone. I can't believe it. You like that? Yeah.
A sneaker phone, that's great.
Presenting the sneaker phone, only from Sports Illustrated. And it's yours free with your paid subscription to SI. It has push-button dialing, mute button, automatic redial, an on-off switch, and of course, it plugs into a standard jack.
How much? It's free. Free?
The SI sneaker phone is yours free when you subscribe to 30 issues of Sports Illustrated for 3 low monthly installments of $14.97. That's over 45% off the cover price. So call now. The subscription includes the NFL and NBA previews, the year-end double issue, and the revealing 1991 swimsuit issue. So call now to subscribe to Sports Illustrated and get the sneaker phone free.
Hello? That's great.
We're back at Portland, and you're riding with Paul Genelosi right now in 5th place. Wearing a helmet cam, so you really are getting his bird's eye view of what it's like to drive a Trans Am car around this race course, Scott.
Definitely the full feeling of what's going on out there. You see how he's leaning his head right to left a little bit, reaching down there with his right hand, doing a little shifting, goes up into the back, a little braking area, downshift. You see him really working that wheel a little bit. The track really getting slippery right now. You can really see him sawing at that steering wheel.
You can see him going up over the curbs, too, and see the car take a little shift. Right there is one.
Of extra movement. That's one thing I talked about earlier, is the fact this track is probably getting very slippery. It's really tough to get the traction he wants off the turn as well as the grip through the turn.
And you can see him correcting the car coming off of corners, so he is doing a lot of sliding through the corner. Now he's on one of the faster part of the racetrack.
Down the back straight, carrying a lot of speed. A lot of braking down in this area, up into 7 through 8. You see him come around and in a pretty slow, probably one of the slowest turns on the track, turn 9, as he enters the front straight.
front of the field. The battle for second place between Robert Lapalanian and Wayne Akers, and Jack Baldwin is sandwiched himself in between them. Baldwin trying to get around Lapalanian. Akers wouldn't mind following him around, but can he do it? Lapalanian holds him off. Akers, the 21 car, the third car in your sequence, is in third place. Fourth place, that is. Lapalanian is in third, and the battle is for third. Jack Baldwin is a lap down, the 28 car.
Jack Baldwin kind of being a fly in the ointment, so to say, in the middle of this situation. Got himself in between Lapalanian and Wayne Akers, and looks like he's having a little bit of a mischief in there.
Like he wanted to get around Lapalanian, try to get back on the lead lap eventually, but wasn't doing. Robert Lapalanian holding him off is running in third place. Wayne Akers running in fourth, trying to get around Baldwin so he can get his sights directly on Robert Lapalanian. Through turn number 9, now onto the front straight. What kind of speeds are they hitting here, Scott?
I'm guessing here they're upwards of about 160. Pretty fast straightaway. A little faster down the back straight, but definitely pretty quick. 160, 165 is pretty quick on this car.
You can see Lapalanian in the black car is closing in on Les Lindley, so we might have a nice battle developing in the next few laps for second place. The difference now between first and second is 11, almost 12 seconds. So Darren Brassfield at the front of the field starting to pull away, but Les Lindley is being closed down upon by Robert Lapalanian. Lindley in the yellow car, Lapalanian in the black one, Wayne Akers in the red, white, and blue 21 car. We've got a great battle developing, a 3-car battle for second.
As we saw you seen in Detroit, it's never over till it's over. You have to get those race cars to the finish line. There's only one lap that counts in racing, that's the last one. If you're not there, nothing counts.
Working lap number 39. Les Lindley is the second place car, the yellow car right there, and right on his tail now is Robert Lapalanian trying to take over second place.
He's really closing in on Les. Looks like maybe Les is having a little bit of a problem with the way that Robert's catching in.
Down the front straight, can Lapalanian make his move here? Pure horsepower. Now as we go into the chicane, we'll see if Lapalanian can make his move. The car directly in front of those two is Chris Neifel. Lindley holds him off into turn 1. Lindley in the yellow car. Car number 8, the black and gold cars. Robert Lapalanian. Then Jack Baldwin comes up 1 lap down. Wayne Akers is the 4th car in the sequence. He is also on the lead lap and battling for position.
Looks like Robert has a little bit better car than Les does. A little bit more grip, a little bit more hookup. Maybe that's just because he's taking care of the tires.
Les Lindley trying to hang on to second place. He's watching Darren Brassfield just pull farther and farther away in front of him in the lead. That difference is now 15 seconds, but he's got his hands full trying to hang on to second place. Into turn number 7. We've seen a couple of passes there, but Lapalanian doesn't try one. Through 8, now they set up for 9. Heavy braking, downshifting, and preparing now for that long straightaway. Lapalanian sideways through that corner.
He's really working hard here. He's going to try and draft less down the straightaway and maybe try and out deep down turn 1.
Great battle for second place. Darren Brassfield still at the front, and we'll be back right after this.
We're looking. We're looking. Yes, we are looking. Come on. I'm just looking for a push. Bill.
Le Mans, the world's most famous 24-hour endurance race, and the scene of a major triumph for Jaguar and Goodyear. For both Goodyear and Jaguar, it was a double triumph. First and second at the 24 Hours of Daytona in February, and now, first and second at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. Superior performance. It's why Jaguar chooses Goodyear, and it's why we say the best tires in the world have Goodyear written all over them.
Now, for all you rookies out there, the great Nolan Ryan will demonstrate his pitching technique.
The Bic Metal shaver, because I want to look as good off the mound as on. Before the game, it's Bic Metal. After the game, it's Bic Metal. The Bic Metal shaver, because even good old boys want to look good. It's the choice of this right-hander, the Bic Metal shaver. It makes me look good every time out. How's that one?
Winning. It can all come down to one spark plug, Champion. No other plug in the world has fired more drivers to victory than Champion spark plugs. Imagine what they can do for you. Champion. We race. You win. Win a trip for two to the Australian Grand Prix in the Champion We Race You Win giveaway. Enter now at your participating auto parts store or auto service dealer.
Second place heating up. Lapalainen on the inside gets by Les Lindley, and not a likely place to pass, but a great move.
It certainly was, and what happened there is he just got on to marbles, and he's going to get passed by Wayne Akers here.
Jack Baldwin got by him. He's a lap down. Wayne Akers also trying to get by. He doesn't quite get the job done, but he's right behind Les Lindley. Not a likely place to pass, but a great move by Robert Lapalainen to take over second place. Lindley falls to third. The car directly behind the 8 car, the 21 car of Wayne Akers, is in fourth. Good racing at the front of the field here in Portland.
Les got just a little too far out that time. Got in the marbles, and that gave the opportunity for Lapalainen to slip on by.
In the green car, Jack Baldwin is a lap down. Lapalainen now starting to pull away a little bit. Does he have enough time to catch Darren Brasfield? 41 laps are down. 12 laps remain. Let's take a look at that pass one more time, Scott. A great move by Robert Lapalainen.
You see how far out he is. He just got out there, got in the marbles, couldn't do anything about it, and Lapalainen slipped right up the inside.
So Robert Lapalainen is now in second place. Another angle on the inside, and Les Lindley hung out to dry. Nothing he can do as he watched that Ford Mustang go right on by. Robert Lapalainen now in second place. Has a win this year. He won at Phoenix. There's a car in the grass, and it's the third place car, fourth place car of Wayne Akers. A problem with Wayne Akers' Ford Mustang, and it looks like it could be terminal. He's starting to climb out of the car, so Wayne Akers, who was working his way up through the field, is done for the day.
Unhooking his belt. Wayne's a real charger, and it's a tough break for him. He's been running good all day long, keeping himself out of trouble, and mechanical problems put him out of the race today.
Wayne had a couple of top 5 finishes this year. Looked like he could be in line for another one here today, but he will drop out on lap 42. So Wayne Akers' day is finished.
The SCCA has a new safety system to show off. Here's Mike Brockman.
This tractor-trailer unit I'm standing in front of is a classic example of having the very best equipment possible and praying you never use it. It's a new mobile medical unit used by the SCCA in their professional racing series. Now, this unit was put together by Dr. Harlan Hunter, who's an orthopedic surgeon with a true love of motor racing. Inside this tractor-trailer are facilities to take care of almost anything that could happen at a racetrack. They've got a mobile X-ray unit with on-site processing where they can have X-rays back in a mere matter of moments. Also, they have an electrical shock facility to restart the heart in case of cardiac arrest. Now, fortunately, the most common use of this vehicle so far has been to treat dehydrated race drivers. Now, the other interesting thing is this is only one part of a 3-part series put together by Dr. Hunter. This is Hunter 1, or vehicle number 2 in the Hunter Trauma Team. This vehicle is the eyes and ears of race control. Whenever there's an accident on the racetrack, race control dispatches this vehicle and puts it out on the racetrack to the emergency scene. Inside are an extractor, a rescue person, a paramedic, a fireman, and a local doctor, all prepared and ready to take care of any emergency that could arise on a racetrack. Vehicle number 3 on the Hunter Trauma Team is a Kawasaki Mule. Now, this is a utility vehicle that runs up and down the pits dispensing Gatorade and wet towels for fluid and electrolyte replacement of the team members and the drivers during a really hot race. Now, it's organizations like the Hunter Trauma Team and vehicles like these who have really made a difference in safety in professional racing today.
You're riding now with Paul Gentilossi, the Budweiser car number 7. He is running in 4th place now. That Akers has dropped out, so attrition again puts somebody in a better position.
It certainly does, and as I said earlier, I'm surprised at how much attrition we've seen here today. Portland, not necessarily a track that's rough on cars. situation where we've had a lot of top runners get a lot of bad situations.
Another car dropping out, Rich Sloma, the only Corvette in the field of Cupertino in California. So Sloma looks like he's through for the day. And again, cars are dropping out right and left. 42 laps are down. 11 laps remain. Meanwhile, the red car there, the second car in the sequence, Darren Brassfield. He is your leader. He has a comfortable lead on a Robert Lapalainen in second place. Les Lindley is now in third. Paul Gentilossi in fourth. Although Brassfield now being held up a little bit by some back markers. Robert Lapalainen, you can see him just now on the straightaway, the black and gold car, so that's the difference between first and second place. Brassfield with a big lead. Third place, right behind Lapalainen, Les Lindley in the yellow car, car number 8. That's our best battle right now, the battle for second place, Lapalainen and Les Lindley.
Brassfield, one of the young Lions, has really shown the way today. He's been out of trouble, been in a perfect situation, and now just taking care of his car. Be careful with the tires, careful with the brakes, be careful with traffic. A lot of times that could be cause a lot of problems. He's just in a situation when he wants to go out and run a nice, clean race and bring it on home.
10 laps remain. Lapalainen trying hard to catch the leader, but he's going to need a little help to do that. Down the back straight. See the car of Tommy Kendall without their hood going into the corner. Here's a battle right here in front of Lapalainen. Some back markers having a nice little battle, but that will slow Lapalainen down. Les Lindley is able to close down as Dick Danielson is right in front of Lapalainen. Lapalainen now pulls around Dick Danielson and will try to get some clear sailing. Some traffic right in front of Robert Lapalainen, and you don't want to see that, do you?
You certainly don't. Sometimes it can be a real problem for you to get by some of this traffic. The guy you're charging with slipping up behind you, if these guys hold you up a little bit, it'll be right back up on your tail, and it can really give you a problem when you're trying to pass them.
Randy Ruhlman is the white car. And there's a look at Max Jones in the pits now, who started this race on the pole. And Max Jones has had his problems. He is now in 9th place, or was before this pit stop, and this will be costly for our pole sitter. You're riding now with Jim Durhag, well behind the leader, Darren Brassfield, who is at the point with just 9 laps remaining here in Portland.
The hottest new way to see the hottest hit movies and special events. Pay-per-view.
Steven Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis bring you back to the action. Back to the magic. Back to the Future, Part 2. Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd. Back to the Future, Part 2.
Order directly from home and pay only for what you order. Pay-per-view, only from United Cable. Call today.
With this fine redwood from Big B Lumberteria. Big B has all the building supplies you'll need for any job, from a backyard deck to a redwood fence to even your biggest projects. There. Now you try it at home. But first, call Big B Lumberteria. Well, that's all the time we have for now. See you next time on Woody's Wood Shop.
With baseball 4 nights a week, Major League. Under the lights, ESPN baseball tonight. Tuesday, Friday, doubleheader. Wednesday, nothing better. Catch it Sunday, watch the fun. Sunday night, a home run.
The Orioles take on the Twins on Sunday Night Baseball, live at 8 Eastern on ESPN.
Baseball tonight.
Back at Portland, Darren Brassfield is in the lead. The battle is for second place. Robert Lapalainen in the black car. Les Lindley in the yellow car. They go into the chicane. Lindley drops to the inside. Can't get by Lapalainen through the chicane. Lapalainen looks like he got through it a little bit better than Lindley did.
Saw Lapalainen catch up and pass him a little earlier, and this is a situation where it looks like Lapalainen just has a little bit better tire than Les does. Les may have been just a little too aggressive early in the race, and that's a problem here at Trans Am. you got to be careful with the tires. You only have so much to deal with, and the cars are heavy enough where they overpower the tires and use them up.
The battle is for second place. Robert Lapalainen is in second. Les Lindley would like to be there. Well up over that curve. And now onto the back straight. Les Lindley, his best finish this year, a 6th place finish. Hanging on to 3rd place right here, trying to improve on that.
From this look, it looks like Robert's all over those curves. He's using every bit of them.
Robert Lapalainen about to complete lap number 46. It's a 53-lap race. Darren Brassfield comfortably out in front. This is the battle for second, and now they're closing in on a slower car, and that could be an advantage for Les Lindley. Let's go down to the pits. Mike Brockman.
Yeah, Brian, Scott's exactly right. This picture right here is of Max Jones's rear tires. He's just absolutely got these things smoked off the back of that Mustang. I mean, they're really burning these tires up, and that's why these cars are so loose out there. It's a real handful at this stage of the race. Back to you, Brian.
Scott, I would imagine conserving is something that's very, very difficult for a hard-charging race car driver to do.
It certainly is, but I've learned the hard way. I remember racing a couple times in Trans Am where I've used up those tires before it was time, and it gets to be a real handful. You just cannot do anything to keep that car on the track.
Be conservative early, save them for the end, huh?
Certainly.
After 40 laps, here's how they stood. Darren Brassfield, the leader. Wayne Akers has since dropped out. We look now at Lapalainen trying to get around a slower car. Thought twice about trying to get by in that corner, but don't want to make a mistake lapping a back mark.
You certainly don't. It doesn't cost to run into somebody at this stage of the race. Only a few laps from the end out there, and he's having a good run with Les, but he can't take a chance on turning up his race car.
Les Lindley tries to get by. A back marker locks up the brakes, got pinched, and doesn't get collected by anybody. Here comes Ruhlman, who just misses him. Les Lindley in a very tough position right here, right at the chicane, and it looks like he killed the car. It's still running now, but he's going to try to rejoin the field, trying to get around a back marker. Max Jones now has to bail out. So Les Lindley causing a traffic jam in the chicane.
I don't know. I wouldn't want to have been Les there sitting backwards on the track, seeing all those cars coming at you. It's pretty hairy as it was, and being backwards to all those guys, it's pretty dicey.
Les Lindley trying to get around the 89 car of Jerry Clinton to keep the heat on Robert Lapalainen. Let's take another look at it. Going into the chicane, Lapalainen is the black and gold car. Now watch Lindley. Pulls up right behind Robert Lapalainen. The car on the right is Jerry Clinton. Lapalainen makes the pass. Clinton pinches him, and Lindley had nowhere to go.
Just didn't look like he saw him there. Les Lindley just kind of got caught out lapping traffic. That's what we talked earlier. You have to be careful when you're lapping these guys. A lot of times they'll get caught up racing in the race, not watching their mirrors, and take you out of the race. Just unfortunate situation.
You're riding now with Jim Durhag. Let's get a feel for what it's like to lap Portland International Raceway in a fire-breathing Trans Am car.
Come here. Closer. I want to look this good forever. Shiny, sleek, Smooth. But if you don't treat me right, my shine could fade away.
Clear Coat finish is still dull and fade. Z-Bart paint protection, a tough polymer sealant, blocks out sun and the elements, locks in shine. You'll never wax again.
Take care of me, and I'll look this good forever.
I don't know what you see in that car.
Now get $100 off the total protection package at Z-Bart.
You don't get to be #1 by standing still.
Ford Trucks, the best never rest.
Only Ranger has Ford's exclusive touch drive to let you go in and out of four-wheel drive at the touch of a button. No wonder Ranger is leaving Chevy in the dust.
Ford Trucks, the best never rest.
The best-built, best-selling American trucks are built Ford tough.
Back at Portland International Raceway, the final 4 laps about to unfold in the Oldsmobile Trans Am Classic. And at the front of the field, Darren Brasfield. Well out in front. Robert Lapalainen is in second place. Les Lindley has fallen well back. Paul Genelosi is now in third. There's Brasfield in the 5 car, taking it very careful around one of the back markers, John Anderson. Brasfield out high and gets by.
Doesn't want to take any unnecessary chances now. He has a nice big lead, nice and comfortable. Take care of the car. Don't take any chances on lap traffic. As we saw, Les Lindley got himself in that bad situation, got taken out of the race. Just cruise on home.
3 laps to go now for Darren Brasfield. Darren Brasfield will become the first repeat winner this year if he can hang on for 3 more laps. There's the view out the back of Genelosi's car. You can see here, Scott, just how fast these cars are actually going. It's tough to get a feel for it until you get a look from this angle.
It certainly is, and he's running about a top speed of like 160, 165, and a lot quicker than you think, probably running about 70 to 75 miles an hour through these turns.
Let's look at Paul Genelosi now out the front on his helmet cam.
See how slippery the track's starting to get. He's really doing a lot of turning with that wheel and a lot of correcting it. So you'll turn into it and catch it, turn into it and catch it. That's really evident that the track's getting pretty slippery.
Genelosi has really benefited by the attrition today because he is now running in 3rd place. He's just run a steady pace and is now in 3rd and trying to hang on to that. There's your 2nd place car, Robert Lapalainen. And Genelosi is right behind him, so he's closing on Lapalainen, trying to get 2nd place.
Lapalainen isn't too far out there. Again, the situation of V8 and V6. Paul may be in a situation where he has a little bit more tire, car hooking up a little better. He might be able to come up and challenge him.
Does he have time? 2 laps remain here in Portland. Paul Genelosi trying to chase down Robert Lapalainen. The battle is for 2nd place. Well out in front is Darren Brasfield. 2 laps remain. You're riding now with Paul Genelosi. Trying to close down on Robert Lapalainen. He has him directly in his sights. The car right in front of Genelosi is Lapalainen.
Looks like he's actually picking up some time here down to the S's. Could be a situation with tires.
He's really starting to close now. About a lap and a half remains. Now down the backstretch.
You see him catching up to a little bit of lap traffic. This could add to the major situation of this whole battle.
The white flag will fly for Darren Brasfield. He is now working his last lap. Less than 2 miles to go for his 2nd win of the year. The battle, meanwhile, lies in 2nd place. Darren Brasfield coasting. He could coast home from here.
I'll tell you what, I've been in this situation before, and I swear, you can feel everything is falling apart in that race car.
There's the battle for 2nd place. Lapalainen looks like he's hanging on. They're on their last lap. They have both seen the white flag. Genelosi in the red car. He's in 3rd. Lapalainen is in 2nd. There is your leader. Down the backstretch. Is it true that on the last lap you hear every noise in a race car?
Yes, it is. You think that things are going to fall apart underneath. I think you even come up with things in the car that are falling apart that really aren't happening.
Lapalainen has put a car between himself and Genelosi now as they make their way around the race course. Genelosi tries to get by and does. But does he have time to catch Lapalena. Here's Darren Brasfield coming toward the checkered flag. He wins the Oldsmobile Trans Am Classic. Darren Brasfield becomes his first repeat winner this year. Now the battle for second place. Gentilossi chasing down Robert Lapalena. Can he do it? Through turn 9, the final turn, heading toward the checkered flag.
Right now, Paul's hoping there's a couple more laps left. It just doesn't look like he's going to have enough to do it.
He won't be able to do it. Robert Lapalena finishes in second place. Paul Gentilossi in third. Lynn St. James a lap down in fourth place. And Jim Durhag will finish in fifth. So Darren Brasfield with a great run wins his second race of the year. Robert Lapalena in second. Paul Gentilossi finished in third. There's Lynn St. James, who finished in fourth place in the Mustang. A steady run for Lynn all day long.
A wire-to-wire win for Darren. Nice, strong run. That's the perfect way for it to happen.
Lynn St. James finishes in fourth. 07 car. Her best finish this year was another fourth at Phoenix. So a pair of fourth-place finishes this year for Lynn. She's got 21 now. Top 10 finishes in her career. There's your winner, Darren Brasfield. Darren won at Sears Point, and he has won here at Portland. He really benefited from the accident at the start of the race. He was able to pull away, and nobody ever challenged him.
From seeing these races at Phoenix, from seeing the races at Detroit, and a couple of the other ones, it's never over till it's over. We've seen a lot of people falling out. We've seen a lot of challenges going on. We've seen a lot of accidents, and Trans Am has been filled with a lot of excitement this year.
We'll be back and talk with the winner right after this.
There's no dashboard light to warn you. No dipstick to check. Yet when warned, they could cause your car to lose control and braking. Don't find out your shocks and struts are worn by accident. Get your shocks and struts inspected at your Monroe retailer soon. Monroe, your safety could depend on it.
The Quaker State King Racing Buick, winner of the 1989 Die Hard Award for the most tough NASCAR mile, is winning again in 1990 as Brett Bodine takes first in the first Union 400. It takes a tough oil to keep a car running this tough, and it takes a tough driver to step right in, step on it, and win. But number 26 is one tough car. Brett Bodine is one tough driver, and Quaker State is one tough motor oil.
The Oldsmobile Trans Am Classic has been brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Monroe Shocks and Struts. Monroe, your safety could depend on it. And by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. The winner, Darren Brasfield is out of the car. Let's go down to Michael Brockman.
Darren, happy guy. You led from the first lap. Are you aware of the insanity that was going on behind you?
Well, they kept me informed, you know. Lynn, my crew chief, kept me informed that that they were kind of busy back there. Tommy came in the pits with some problem, and then I guess Chris took over then, and from there, and then he came in with a flat tire. I guess somebody rear-ended him or something, and then I guess Irv Hare came up, and so I was getting a blow-by-blow description of the whole day.
How about the heat? Did that affect you?
Not at all. You know, the car ran so smooth and so easy that I had really no problem all day.
And we saw a lot of guys having trouble just smoking the rear tires off their cars. How about you?
No, you know, the Goodyear tires, the choice I picked and the pace that I picked to run and the way we had the car set, you couldn't say anything but good things about the Rocket Sports team.
Well, you led the whole race. Congratulations. Back to you, Brian.
Thank you.
All right, that's 4 wins in a row now for Oldsmobile. Here's how they finished today's Oldsmobile Trans Am Classic. Darren Brasfield, the winner. Robert Lapalena in second. Paul Gentilossi third. Lynn St. James in fourth. And Jim Durhag with a top 5 finish. Jack Baldwin in sixth, followed by Glenn Fox, Randy Ruhlman, Dick Danielson, and Chris Neifel. Max Jones, Mark Peelsticker, Jerry Brasfield, Irv Hare, and Jerry Clinton, 11 through 15. 16th, Les Lindley, John Anderson in 17th, Wayne Akers 18th, 19th and 20th, Rich Sloma and Brian Wold. 21st, Tommy Kendall, who had his problems today. Buzz Dyer, 22nd. Bob Sobey, 23rd. Keith Delaney in 24th. And Steve Barber, 25th. 26th, Bill Lester. John Brumler is 27th. And Scott Sharp, last week's winner, finished in 28th position. Here's a look at the point standings. After 5 races now, Oldsmobile, by virtue of winning 4 straight races, lengthens their lead over Chevrolet and Ford in the manufacturer's point standings.
It has been an exciting day here at the Oldsmobile Trans Am Classic right from the beginning. Many incidents involving many of the front runners. Attrition played a big part throughout the entire afternoon. So round 5 of the Trans Am Series is over, and we saw a lot of great racing at the front of the field. Racing like this, Robert Lapalainen passing Les Lindley on the inside. Later, however, Lindley would be involved in this altercation. But nothing bothered Darren Brassfield, who was a wire-to-wire winner this afternoon. His 2nd win of the year, becoming the first repeat winner on the Trans Am circuit. So congratulations to Darren Brassfield, the winner of the Oldsmobile Trans Am Classic. So for Michael Brockman, Scott Pruitt, I'm Brian Hammond. So long from Portland.